three types of fronts in this world: cold, warm, and stationary. Warm fronts happen because warm mass moves in the same direction as a cold mass, slams into it, and rises above the cold mass, causing clouds at the front. Cold fronts happen because cold mass hits a still warm mass and forces it over it, and it slides under it. Stationary fronts happen when two masses meet and neither has enough force to push the other.
Before a warm front, it is cooler than it will become later. The precipitation is not much in a high pressure zone. Weather is usually clear and not stormy. Before a cold front, it is usually warmer than it will be later, after. The precipitation is usually thick and it's very humid, and also cloudy. For a stationary front, one side is usually warm and one side is usually cooler. And in the middle there's some clouds, and it's
After a warm front, the weather is usually much warmer than it was before. Usually still clear, and most of the weather is pretty the same except for it's much warmer. After a cold front, the weather is much cooler than it was before, and usually much more clear than it was also. The precipitation is usually, as it seems, much more drier. After a stationary front, it can either become more cooler or more warm than when it was before, but only for one side. One side will stay at the same temperature, one will change. High pressure systems have clear skies and spin clockwise. The air is cooler, more dense, and drier. In a low pressure system, it is cloudy skies and spins counterclockwise. The air in a low pressure system is warmer, less dense, and more humid.
If you look at this map, there are high pressure systems in Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, and Alabama. The only two low pressure systems are one above Montana and one in South Dakota.
It's around 41 degrees in Houston and about 68 in Miami currently. Ha! It's always hot in Miami, like always. 68 is a blessing for them. And last but not least, in the state that no one cares about, Montana, it is about 23 degrees in the city of Outlook. An irrelevant city and an irrelevant state. Miami will never change anytime soon because there are no close fronts to be seen. It will always be one of the hottest cities in this country. Soldier Pond, Maine, is -2 degrees, one of the coldest temps in the country. But if this warm front soon comes to it, it may warm up, just maybe.
As previously stated, Houston is around 41 degrees Fahrenheit. Miami is at its all-year high average of absolutely 68 degrees Fahrenheit. And irrelevant Montana, aka Outlook, is 23 degrees Fahrenheit. Houston has clear skies. It's colder because it is in a high pressure zone and is pretty dry. Miami is pretty neutral, but a high pressure zone is approaching on it. It is neither dry nor humid now, but it soon could begin drying. Outlook is between two low pressure systems, so it is probably pretty humid and cloudy and yuck and irrelevant.
Oh, weather gods, bring us good weather, bring us good fortune. Oh, weather gods, bring us forecasts. The outlook for Outlook, Montana may be irrelevant, but I'm being paid less than minimum wage, so let's get this forecast going. It is currently on its 5th day of light rain because of this stationary front. It may soon see a warm-up or stay eternally cold because everyone knows Montana is just a wasteland, mattering on where the stationary front blows. Even post-front, it will stay pretty miserable because of these two low-pressure zones in which it's in between. Even though this is a pretty boring Battlefront, it is still more exciting than the new game Star Wars Battlefront. That game's a piece of trash. And that's the weather report for irrelevant Montana. I mean, Outlook Montana. What?